Next panel is Susie Mate, Helen Carvel, William Reece Tarn, Ash Hall, Vicki Powell, and Jody Cole. Next panel up will be Thomas Ryan Wyman, Catherine Bott, Blake Harley, Teresa Cooper, Melanie Freewalt Ross, and Francis Whalen. We'll begin with Susie Mate.
Okay, I'm a little nervous. Don't like politics, rather be on the river, floating down the New Braunfels. I grew up in San Antonio, went to the University of Texas, blessed to grow up, live in Austin. It's a little liberal for me, but I live in Williamson County. I'm here to represent the millions of unborn children who are unable to speak for themselves. I also speak for the multitude of women, including those among my friends and family, who deeply regret their choice to abort and continue to mourn the loss of their child's life. I hope to plant the seed in the hearts and minds of our legislators, possibly a mother who is contemplating the quick and convenient solution of abortion for herself or her daughter. I would have loved to have given birth to a precious child, but it was not to be for me. The children in my pro-life family know me as Aunt Susie. I am a grandmother. I don't know who's pro-life. I come from a family of 11 children who have grown to be well-educated professional contributors to society. This reality is in stark contrast to the propaganda presented to one of my sister's college classes in the 1980s by a Planned Parenthood representative who claimed that, statistically speaking, large families raise uneducated, low-income children who were more likely to be a drain on society. I am no drain on society. I love inner-city children, I love Big Bend National Park, and I love God's divine mercy. Enough of that. Our family has always been involved in service to the poor, homeless, autistic, Down syndrome, and inner-city children. I'll try to calm down. Our mother spent countless hours over most of her adult life helping women with crisis pregnancies, providing counseling necessities for themselves and their children, and financial assistance. One of my brothers, a prominent attorney, recently had a comment published in the Wall Street Journal. In his letter, he stated, regardless of her views on abortion rights, an expectant mother who wants her baby calls it a baby. No one says...
There's your time.
Helen Carvel. You know where I was going with that.
My name is Helen Carvel. I'm speaking for myself in opposition to SB1. When I was a nurse working in New York City in the pre-Roe v. Wade era, we had a phenomena frequently on Friday evenings where very wealthy young white women would come in from Maine, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire with unexplained vaginal bleeding, which they wound up in the operating room the next day. Saturday morning, there's not much oversight. And when the path report came back, invariably, they had been pregnant. That was abortion for the white rich people who came from out of state to New York to get theirs on Saturday morning. Monday morning, we saw the young women of color, the Latinas from where this hospital was located, in Spanish Harlem, who came in and got their abortions Saturday night, and we saw the results of that on Monday morning. My point to you is you cannot legislate morality. It's going to happen one way or the other. People who make decisions, and I've heard all the sad stories of abortion, that we need to improve it. The other thing is, if you were against it, you would work to prevent it through sex education, funding Planned Parenthood, which provides low-cost contraception. I appreciate that you've amended the bill to include danger to the mother and fetal abnormalities. Nobody chooses to abort a 20-week fetus unless those things are happening, which you can't find out until those do happen. But who decides what is a severe anomaly? Who decides what is a risk to the mother? Who's going to make those decisions? I think those belong in the hands of the mother. You imagine hordes of heathens out there killing off babies, and I imagine there's a handful of women trying to make agonizing choices. Please don't make it more difficult for them. It's hard enough. And based on what I've heard today, our abortion system needs a massive overhaul. People need better counseling ahead of time and a lot better counseling afterwards. And I thank you for having the hearing.
Thank you. William Reece Tarn.
I offer you a story of
Need you to identify yourself for the record.
William Reece Tarn,
There you go.
San Angelo, Texas.
There you go.
I'll offer you a story of two mothers that exchanged with each other the gift of life, and how life always gives more life, especially when it's given as a gift and not just by the Creator. In this case, it was two mothers. Two soldiers, 19 years old each, didn't know each other, were at the same outpost on the Israeli border during its period of peace, but a bullet cracked through the air from a sniper's rifle, dropping one soldier to the ground. He lay there bleeding to death and would have surely died at 4 o'clock in the morning until his relief had arrived. But another Israeli soldier heard the shot, went to investigate, found him laying there, and stopped that bleeding and got him evacuated to a hospital where his family met him and was grateful for the saving of his life. But the name of the soldier who had saved him was not in the report. They didn't know who to thank. They owned a business. They put a poster up in their business, and they prayed that one day someone would know something about the name of that soldier so that they could rightfully thank him for saving their son's life. It turned out that the mother of that boy went back to visit that store after being absent from it for 20 years, having gone in there pregnant, wanting an abortion, and was talked out of it and given aid by that very same family. One life saved another life. And you're doing the same thing today. And it's more contagious when it's given in that way. I've saved 3 lives. I'm sure that the lives that I've saved will go on to save many more. Thank you.
Thank you. Ash Hall.
Hi, my name is Ash Hall. I'm from Clear Lake, Texas. Larry Taylor is my representative, and I'd like to testify against this bill. I am a proud Texas lesbian, and I know it seems unusual that someone like me would come here and testify against this, but the truth is that my community is affected by this bill because of a concept called corrective rape. Someone touched upon it earlier. It's when a straight person decides that they can take it upon themselves to rape a person in my community in order to turn them straight. It does not work, and it's very harmful to my community, and there are cases where folks in my community can get pregnant from that. I can tell you it almost happened to me personally, and thankfully I defended myself and was not raped, but had I been raped and had I gotten pregnant, I would have had to go to the clinic in Waco, Texas, which, by the way, is in danger of closing because of this bill. I don't think there's any way I would have been able to support a child at that time because I was attending Waco's private school, Baylor, and I would not have been able to afford having a child. So, very important issue to my community. As it is, folks in my community have enough issues trying to raise children in the state because we are not afforded the same rights as our straight counterparts. Our marriages aren't recognized. We can be fired on the basis of being gay. We can be denied insurance of any sort, including health insurance, and we can be, there's just all sorts of things that can happen to us in this state because we are gay or transgender. And so I think it's really interesting that we're sitting here arguing about whether or not we should be giving unborn fetuses rights when my community doesn't even have fundamental rights like our straight counterparts. And I'd really like to see the next legislature focus on giving my community the rights that everyone else has before we start looking at people that aren't even born yet. Thank you.
Thanks, Gwen. Vicki Powell. Is Vicki Powell in the room? Okay, Vicki Powell was here in favor of the bill. We're going to change that from oral to registering a physician. And Jody Cole.
Yes, thank you. Hi, my name is Jody Cole. I'm a wife, mother, and criminal defense attorney here in Austin. I'm a 6th-generation Texan. I'm here to testify against this bill. Let's sum it up. You're trying to make it hard for women to obtain safe and affordable early abortions before 20 weeks so that you can then say that it's too late for them to exercise their settled constitutional rights. By doing this, your overreaching ends up also violating our state and federal constitutional rights to freedom of religion. A person's belief about whether abortion is right or wrong is a religious belief. We have a right to have our own spiritual belief or opinion regarding abortion. If your faith objects to abortion, that's your right. Pray for these women to change their mind. I'll pray with you. Provide them loving support and encourage them to give birth come approach me, I may give you a donation. But you start forcing women to give birth to unwanted pregnancies against their will, you're going to tangle with me. This legislation isn't about valuing life. This legislation is about breaking Texas women. I didn't ask for this fight. None of this did, but we're going to finish it. We will fight you in the federal courts, and we will fight you at the polls. We will not let you force women to give birth to unwanted pregnancies. You will not tell us how to believe, and you will never break us. I'm here to look you in the eye and voice my objection to this illegal legislation. You're not voted into office to make cases for the Supreme Court to decide on settled law. I don't care what some religious out-of-court professor is telling you. You're not supposed to invite us into lengthy, expensive litigation. That's not your job. If John Bradley can be run out of office, so can you. And I'm looking forward to participating in that adventure.
Thank you to this
Thank
whole
you.
panel.